Well, let's go back, as we do each week, to Catherine McGregor. Her insights are extraordinary, her scholarship remarkable, her tenacity laudable. Catherine, I don't apologise for the truth that sometimes, when you and I are sick of saying it, some of that Blazer Brigade might be listening. Can I say to you, though, I've got many veterans concerned about who this Royal Commissioner should be. Obviously, it should be someone like Mr Justice Callanan, ACQC. I'm told that some of the names being floated are abysmal. Does the Coalition understand, Catherine, if they get this wrong, the veterans community will savage them?
Good question, Alan. If they've missed this, then they've got a tin ear and they will have forfeited the right to the support of Australia's veterans. I'd seen some encouraging signs from Minister Dutton with the restoration of unit citations, and I thought that was a positive step. Another great step would be to re-raise 2 Squadron of the Special Air Service Regiment, which was disbanded absolutely unjustifiably and in a moral panic. The identity of the Royal Commissioner is important. I canvassed the name of Justice Callanan, who I think would be exemplary. Likewise, if he's well enough, I've not seen him of late, but I certainly saw him around Phillip Street relatively recently. Justice McHugh was an outstanding member of the bench and a criminal lawyer. Some of his criminal decisions were superb. Justice Gleeson is around. There are a number of very, very esteemed jurists who would be outstanding appointments, and they need to get on with this.
Big test for the government.
Yeah,
Your estimation...
They failed the High Court appointment process. That's one thing that did concern me. I thought very tepid, insipid performance on filling High Court vacancies last year.
You've been impressed with the Veterans Affairs Minister, Darren Chester, and that's been borne out by others to whom I have spoken. Seems outwardly decent and caring. Is he likely to give the vets a strong Royal Commissioner with whom they'll feel comfortable?
Look, Alan, the problem I think Minister Chester has, and he can look after himself, he's a solid performer. I've found him empathic. I was impressed at his mastery of detail, including the personal stories of some of the young soldiers serving past and present who'd taken their own lives. He is not callous or indifferent to their fate, but he doesn't own the whole domain.
That's correct.
And this is the problem.
It's a Michaelia Cash thing, this. She decides, Michaelia Cash.
Some of it, and also the Defence Department are putting broken people on the street. There are people leaving the ADF with red flags all over their psych records, and it is irresponsible, it is grotesque, and it's got to stop. And he picks up the broken pieces often too late. And the veterans are so damaged that they find dealing with the bureaucracy absolutely insurmountable problem. So
this is why we're talking about it on this program. It's not talking about at Question Time. You won't get this in Parliament. No. Can I raise with you this issue that I've been raising with Dr Kay Danes, whom you know, which is immensely disturbing, about the fate of members of the Afghan community who have assisted our men and women in the theatres of war. There seems to be no contingency plan here. Catherine, what were Army generals like Campbell and co doing, he's now head of defence, when they were formally in charge of the operations in Afghanistan? If they weren't writing up contingencies as to what might happen if the Allies left, what were they doing?
Well, it's a whole of government failure, and I know Kay's position on this and I support it. I'm a great friend and admirer of Greg Sheridan. I think his argument that the embassy needed to remain open is just simply baseless. We can't keep an embassy there when the United States has withdrawn and others. The President of Afghanistan should look at the video footage of the arrival of the Taliban in 1996 when Nasrullah was hanging upside down, having been mutilated. That fate awaits Ashraf Ghani. The Taliban will overrun Kabul within days of our complete departure. We have a moral obligation to those who assisted us, and to his credit, Malcolm Fraser acknowledged it with the Vietnamese who fled Vietnam at the end of the Vietnam War. The boys that I'm talking to, especially from the West, call them the Terps, the interpreters who were on, and members of partner forces. Those people should be fast-tracked and given visas on any ground, whatever's required, to get them out. They have been loyal friends of Australia. Many of our partner forces are members of a Hazara minority. There will be genocide after the Pashtun majority Taliban takeover.
So talk about getting them out. Now, when I spoke to Kay Danes, she talked on air about the visa application these poor people have to fill out when they're on the run from the Taliban. Catherine, just listen to what Kay said.
Alan, I brought in a copy of the visa application and it's quite thick. It's almost an inch thick. And you're talking about cost involved. It's about $2,000 US for an interpreter to fill one of these out. And I mean, the English stand, I have a PhD, but I tell you what, I'd be hard pressed to fill this document out. It's quite intense.
Catherine, you see, she's got a PhD and she says she couldn't fill it out. I mean, can bureaucracy be so heartless, Catherine?
It is a moral failure at the highest levels, as has been every element of our commitment to this war. And it now behoves the government to fast-track these people. If the after-action reports and reporting of our task groups does not reflect the names of those who were in direct support of us, then I tear my hair out, because I know the record keeping when we were in the Vietnam War was impeccable, our after-action reports and so on. We should be able to identify these people and extract them on an evacuation operation, a NEO. We're trained for it, we've got the capability. We should be able to identify these people and offer them passage to Australia forthwith, and they should get out of that place while the getting's good, frankly. We should provide an aircraft or multiple aircraft, including armed troops if necessary, to secure the extraction point and get those people out of the country. We rehearse it and we have the capability.
Good on you. We've got somewhere to put them as well. You do wonderful, wonderful work. We'll canvass again next week this question about whether those people mentioned in the Bureaucratic report are being appropriately represented, and are they being funded as the Defence Minister promised by the government. I suspect that answer is no. But Catherine, thank you for your time. Have a wonderful weekend.
Pleasure.
We'll talk to you next week. There she is.
Thanks, Alan.
Catherine McGregor.